that focused on creating learning material standards that would exceed the expectations of educators and learners.
My fourth book is officially up, so please check it out. Link is in the description below. This is a collection, again, of short stories and poems, and this one is more tied to the theme of psychological thriller. So if you're a fan of those, you'll like my books. See you all next time. I've always been a huge fan of the Daredevil character ever since I was a little kid, so if I was an actor, I would love to play the character of Daredevil, because Daredevil feels like one of the few comic book characters that if someone asked me to play the role, I think I could actually do a very good job at playing that part. So, what would I do if I was asked to play Matthew Murdock / Daredevil on TV or film? More specifically, I want to talk about it in the sense of what if I was asked to play Daredevil for the Netflix TV show, because the thing is, well, I like the movie fine, but if I could pick a version to play the character as, it would be the TV show version. Yes, the TV show is obviously better, but more specifically, it's because the TV show goes on for a lot longer than the movie does. So if so I feel like I would be able to play this character a lot longer, and it'd be a much more rewarding experience, playing this character for 3 years or for 3 seasons of a show, and instead of just playing him for a couple months just for one movie. Now, of course there would be a weightlifting component, but I feel like it's a little specific. It's not a day 1 arms, day 2 legs kind of workout. I think it would be a full body, 1 hour a day max, by the way, of weightlifting. And the reason you wouldn't lift weights for like 3 hours a day or 4 or whatever, I think it's because it's too difficult. Not because you'd be too exhausted or anything like that, but it's just that's not the primary goal of Daredevil. He's not a bodybuilder like Batman or like Wolverine. If you're going to play characters like Batman and Wolverine, oh yeah, you need to be huge, because they're bodybuilders. But Daredevil is not a bodybuilder. Daredevil is a martial artist, so that has to be kept in mind. And more specifically, not only does that have to be kept in mind, but when it comes to lifting weights, only lift for, in my opinion, an hour max, like I said, but don't focus on lifting too heavy either. Focus on lifting a consistent amount of weight. If you want to occasionally go up, go ahead, but don't focus on lifting like the 300 pound on bench press or 500 pounds on deadlift or whatever. What I mean by lift consistently, for example, is if the maximum amount of weight you can lift is, let's say, 20-pound dumbbells on chest press, then have 20-pound dumbbells on every exercise that you do. Because it can lead to, actually, from my experience, also personally, even if you do full body all the time, if you lift a lot heavier on certain muscle groups than others, you want to know what happens? Your body starts to feel a little bit imbalanced, and you start to feel like blocky and a little too big. So, because that's the size of the muscles and stuff is a little inconsistent. So I recommend that if you were to pick a weight, do it for 1 hour max, and just make sure the weight is consistent. Like I said, the goal of Daredevil is to be a martial artist, so I recommend doing this: lift weights for 1 hour, and the rest of the time do nothing but martial arts or cardio-based exercise, fighting exercise in one way or another, whether it's just shadow boxing, whether it's hitting a punching bag, whether it's taking martial arts classes, whatever it is, do it, and do it non-stop until it's over for the day. And I think the workout should just be that, an hour max of weights. Just see the weightlifting part as an added bonus to add strength. The main focus should always be the martial arts, because again, Daredevil is a martial artist, and train in as many different martial arts as you can. But again, do this. I feel it's a workout that you should do every day. Should you have a limit to how long you should work out? In my opinion, no. Like, overall, no. Yes, I said an hour of weights, but when it comes to the martial arts, you shouldn't have an overall limit. I think you should exercise every day for as long as you can, but don't force it either. Like, if you feel like you need to take a day off, take a day off. If you feel like you need to, lift, if you feel like you can't lift this heavy today. Let's say the usual you lift is 25, but feel like you can't lift more than, let's say, 15-pound dumbbells today. No worries, do less. But just make sure on lifting, again, consistently, and just make sure it's much more focused on martial arts rather than the weights, because Daredevil's a martial artist. And again, try to exercise every day. Like, even if the most you exercise a day is, honestly, like, let's say an hour and a half, because let's say you do 1 hour of weights and then just 30 minutes of martial arts. Just try to exercise every day, but don't force it. In my opinion, the workout is actually pretty simple when it comes to Daredevil, but in my opinion, the most trickiest part is the diet. In my opinion, the reason the Daredevil diet is actually really tricky is because I think it should be very specific. It should be an incredibly healthy, typical chicken, fish, steak, baked potatoes, tuna, all that kind of stuff, high protein stuff. Some carbs for sure, like rice or quinoa or whatever, but don't be too anal about things, because the way I see the Daredevil character is he has a secret identity, so he does this in his spare time, but at the same time, in his own mind, he feels like he has to make his own choices as well, and also keep a secret, right? Like similar to Dexter, right? Like Dexter would be in a way kind of like similar to Dexter. He'd be a bit OCD. I have to be as healthy as possible and exercise as consistently as I can to be in the best shape I can when I go out and fight crime. But that being said, when I'm around everyone else, I still have to keep a secret. So if I'm out with Foggy or Karen and they say, hey, do you want to go get a beer? I say yes. I go with them and I drink the beer. I don't turn everything down or whatever. So yeah, if you occasionally want to have cake or whatever, but try to discipline yourself as much as you can, but only have cake and all that kind of stuff on days where, like, again, it's someone's birthday or you're hanging out with friends or whatever. That kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's how I would do the role, and if you guys like this workout routine, please, or diet plan, please let me know. And also, again, I'm not a dietitian or a physician or a personal trainer or anything like that. This is something that I just enjoy doing just for fun, and this is what I would do if I was playing Daredevil from a dietary and workout perspective. Now, in terms of research for the character, the most obvious thing is read Daredevil comic books. Read as many Daredevil comics as I can. Now, in terms of the first season, would I read origin comics for sure? But in the show, it's not the origin story. The entire first season is not like it's not like Batman Begins, where the entirety of the first movie is focused on his origin. The first season does focus on his origin, yes, but it's not the entire focus. It's more of a crime show, really. Let's be honest. So I feel like I don't have a tendency or a cage in terms of how many comics I can read. I can read any Daredevil comic I want. I can read comic books of Daredevil when he was doing this for 20 years, or I can read the Daredevil comic when he was just in his origin days. So, yeah, in terms of research, reading comic books all the time, of course. Now, this is going to sound like a bit of a strange thing to say, but I feel like one of the main things I feel like I need to learn is how to be blind. And I know that sounds strange to say because it kind of goes without saying. Daredevil is blind, and his tagline is "Justice is blind." So it goes without saying that I have to research or practice how to be blind. Listen, the reason I feel like I have to research this and practice this is because I feel like Daredevil himself, due to his heightened senses, he can kind of see and be more aware of the environment than the majority of people can. So in actuality, I feel like what I need to do is, because when he's by himself in the Daredevil suit, or when he's by himself in his apartment, he can act more or less like a normal person, but when he's blind in public or with friends, people who don't know about his secret, he has to have the cane technique right. He has to act properly blind, or else people will see past his secret. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
It focused on creating learning material standards that would exceed the expectations of educators and learners.
My fourth book is officially up, so please check it out. Link is in the description below. This is a collection, again, of short stories and poems, and this one is more tied to the theme of psychological thriller. So if you're a fan of those, you'll like my books. See you all next time.